Hi folks, well I've been working on the build again. I've now installed the rear suspension and various other bits, so this is how it's looking now. So the subframe is in there just kind of temporarily, just to kind of get an idea of how it's all going to go together. So that's going to come off again to get various bits welded on and bits and pieces done to kind of get it the way I want it. So that's not the final build. The subframe, that'll be coming off again. But anyway, I've also done the rear suspension. As you can see, I fitted the swing arm. Some of you might have seen my time lapse that I did the other day from the preparation on the swing arm. Basically just removed the tape from these bits, which are the places where the rear wheel spindle goes and the adjusters go. So I've kind of got the tape off that and basically removed the tape from anywhere that had been masked, and fitted the chain guard, which is this rubber bit here. That was a real job to clean that up, but it's come up not too bad. It was really greasy and grungy, but it's come up nice. I bolted in with new bolts. I'm using kind of new bolts wherever possible, trying to avoid using second-hand bolts, like the original bolts, if I possibly can, obviously, because new bolts are shiny new. So the swing arm wasn't too bad to fit. Basically just had to kind of put it in place, and I basically kind of laid one end on the ground to support the weight of it, and just put the other end in there into the chassis, and just put the spindle through. The spindle goes through from the right hand side, and it has some stupid complicated Allen Bolton lock nut arrangement thing. So basically just kind of put that all together on that end, put the spindle through from the right hand side, or the off side of the bike if you prefer, and just put the nut on and torqued it down. It's 69 foot-pounds of torque that the spindle takes. So that's what that nut's done up to, and then I need to work out how I'm gonna tighten the lock nut on the other side, because the lock nut is like a sort of castellated nut. I'm not sure how well it shows in the video, but that's it. So it's like an Allen bolt in the middle that you bolt in, obviously with an Allen key or an Allen bit, and then there's a lock nut that goes around the outside that needs a special Honda tool, which I don't have. So I'm either going to have to get one of those, or I'm going to have to improvise or something. So somehow I'll work out how to torque that. But the nut on that side is done up to 69 foot-pounds anyway. So, and there's no give in the swing arm. There's no play from side to side. Like when I first put the swing arm in and put the spindle through before I'd done the nut up, you could kind of jiggle the swing arm a little bit side to side. Not a lot, just a tiny bit, like maybe a millimetre or something. But now that it's all tightened, there's no give in it at all. It's rock solid. So yeah, so then the next job was to put the shock in. The shock was a bit fiddly. It's got this reservoir thing, which is a bit kind of awkward, getting it up through the swing arm and getting it into the right position and like holding it in place while I got the bolt through. It was all a bit awkward, but I managed to do it. I initially just put the bolt through on its own, but then I found that there was a bit of play in the top of the shock. It could move from side to side slightly. There's about maybe a couple of mil gap. So what I've done is I put a washer in there, took the bolt out again, put the washer in. What I did at that stage was I realised it would be easier if I supported the weight of the shock while I put the bolt through. So what I did was I put a big, obviously I've moved in there because it's all done, but I put a big pile of magazines in there to support the weight of the shock while I put the bolt through, and that made it a bit easier because it effectively meant I had kind of two hands to fiddle about with the bolt and the nut and all that. And this bolt here, it's like it's an Allen bolt, and it's recessed so the actual head of the Allen bolt goes right in to the chassis. and that actually bears against, I think it actually bears against the washer, I'm not too sure, but so yeah, so that was the shock in, and then the shock has like a pair of sort of A-shaped bits at the bottom, well, kind of triangular bits really, attached to the bottom of the shock, and then the other end of the A has to attach to the dog bone, which is that bit there. So bolted the dog bone in, that was easy, that just goes straight into the back of the chassis. Did that bolt up. All these bolts are 33 foot-pounds of torque according to Haynes manual. That's the torque that I've done them to, so 69 on the swing arm and 33 on all of those. I can't remember what the one on the top of the shock was off the top of my head. I'll have to go back and check that, but yeah, so then basically, so the order that I did it was the top one first, and that holds the shock in place, takes the weight of the shock. Then next, the A-frame was already on the bottom of the shock, okay, and then the dog bone I put in next, and then that bolt, the one that holds the dog bone to the triangular bits. And then lastly what I did was I actually had the swing arm supported with bungees. This is one of the reasons that I had the subframe on, because what I did was I used a couple of bungees and I put them round here, round the top brace, and I just basically hooked them onto these supports up here, and what that did was that held the swing arm right up, like about this kind of height, and that made it easier to get in and about. And then so once I'd got the shock in, the dog bone in, and the dog bone fixed to the bottom of the triangular bit, then what I did was I took the bungees off, let the swing arm down, and then put that bolt through. And again, that bolt's 33 foot-pounds. What's a bit odd about these bolts is that the nut and the bolt are not the same size. Like the head on the bolt, that like the nut is, I can't remember, I think it's 14mm. Where's my socket? I can find my socket, I know what size it is, but I can't. Lost it. Oh, it's still on there. If it'll come off. Yeah, so it's a 14mm. So 14. Yeah, 14. I don't know, some of them take 14, some of them take bigger sizes, 15 or 17 or something. You'd expect them all to be the same size, but they're not for some reason. And some of them are Allen bolts as well. Like these ones, the shock and the A are all hex, and then the dog bone one that goes through the chassis, both ones that go through the chassis are Allen. So I don't know, it's a bit weird, but it's all gone together anyway, so that's it. Then what I was planning to do was I was going to make up the chain and fit the chain in before I put the swing arm in, to make it a bit easier to get the chain on. But what I discovered is that the chain, when it's in a loop, it doesn't fit between the sprocket and the sprocket guard. The only way to get the chain on is to feed it around one link at a time. So for example, put a link on there and then turn the sprocket around and pull the chain out the bottom like that, and then join the chain once it's on the bike. So that's what I'm going to have to do. So that's pretty much it. So I haven't put the rear wheel in yet because I've still got to get a new tyre and new wheel bearings fitted in the wheel. But once that's done, the wheel can go in. I've also built up the caliper, and I put the brake pads in earlier on today and the hose, so that's all ready to go on as well. So once I've got the tyre and the wheel bearings done, the rear end can all go together, and that'll be the rear end basically pretty much done then. I'll put the chain on obviously. So get the wheel basically in that order, get the tyre fitted, get the wheel bearings done, and fit the chain and fit the brake and fit the wheel, and that'll be that. And then after that I just need to start on the front end. So what else have we been doing on the bike? I can't remember if I said, but I fitted the radiator, sort of. Still needs a bit of work, but it's basically attached. That's a CBR 1100 Blackbird radiator. It doesn't, the hoses aren't quite right, so I've ordered some joints. I've ordered some 45-degree joints to go in there and there into that hose, and more or less the same on the other side. The other side is also going to need a 90-degree joint because it's got because of the thermostat. So I've attached a bit of hose onto the thermostat there, but I'm going to need a 90-degree joint to take it out to join it up with this hose, and then I'll need a 45-degree about there and another 45 there. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I've ordered I think 2 90s and 5 45s. I also need a 90-degree one for the water pump hose that goes from the bottom of the water pump, which you can't really see, but it's in there. So I'm gonna need a 90-degree to take up the side there. So about 90-degree about there, and then that'll go up onto the this bit, which goes on like that. So the hose will come off, go into a 45, go down there, into the 90, something like that. So, so what else? The carburetors that I've got, they don't fit. Tried to fit them, because they're not downdraft carbs. They would need to go kind of flat, and they don't go flat because the chassis is too narrow here. They don't fit between there and there. They fit fine between there and there, but they don't fit between there and there because the chassis is a lot narrower at that point. So for the Fireblade, it absolutely has to be downdraft carbs. So what I've done is I've spent a whopping £100, which is a fair chunk of money, but you know, I'm spending a fortune on this thing anyway, so here we go. So I bought a set of Fireblade carbs which are in the post, so they'll just go straight on, obviously, because they're designed for the Fireblade, and they'll need a clean up and a service and a bit of tweaking and that, you know, but basically they'll go straight on. And then I've ordered all the other bits as well, kind of like the ignition, the CDI and the loom, and all sorts of other bits I've ordered, so I'm just waiting for them to come in the post. In the meantime, I think the next job is going to be to have a go at fitting the forks. I need to replace, I'm going to replace that, the bearings. So that's it, pretty much. That's where I'm at. So that's grand. Thanks again for watching.